In ancient Tamil Nadu, it was a tradition to build a memorial shrine for great warriors who gave their lives in battle. If only a memorial stone was erected, it was called a hero stone shrine, Nadukal shrine. If a temple was built with the memorial stone and the idol of a deity, it was called a Pallippadai temple. About half a kadam northwest of Kudanthai, on the northern bank of the Maniyaru River, near the village of Thiruppurambayam, there stood a Pallippadai temple. It had been built in memory of the Ganga King Prithivipathi, who gave his life in a great battle fought there. Students of world history know that battles such as Waterloo, Panipat, and Plassey changed the course of history. Likewise, in the history of Tamil Nadu, the Battle of Thiruppurambayam was one of the most important battles. This battle took place nearly 100 years before the events of our story. Every Tamil should know the history of this great battle. After the glorious reign of the early Chola kings such as Karikala Vallavan, Perunarkili, Ilanchacheni, and Thorithot Sembian, the glory of the Chola dynasty remained under eclipse for nearly 500 to 600 years. The powerful Pandyas in the south and the Pallavas in the north kept pressing the Cholas from both sides. At last, the Cholas could no longer bear the continuous attacks of the Pandyas. They were forced to leave Urayur, their ancient capital, and move to Pazayarai, near Kudanthai. Even then, they never gave up their claim that Urayur was their true capital. They also continued to proudly bear the royal title Kori Vendar, King of Urayur. Among the Chola kings of Pazayarai, Vijayalaya Chola was famous for his unmatched bravery. He fought at the front in many battles and received 96 wounds on his body. Later, the royal poets praised him in many verses as the great victorious king, who proudly bore those 96 battle scars as his ornaments. His son, Aditya Chola, was a great warrior equal to his father. He also fought in many battles and earned great fame. When Vijayalaya Chola grew old, he crowned his son as king and retired from active rule. At that time, the enmity between the Pandyas and the Pallavas had become very intense, and wars broke out frequently. The Pandya king of that period was Varaguna Varman, and the Pallava king was Aparajitha Varman. Most of the battles between these two great kingdoms were fought in Chola country. Like a small rooster trapped between two fighting elephants, the Chola kingdom suffered greatly. The people of Chola Nadu endured much hardship. However, Vijayalaya Chola wisely turned these wars to his own advantage. In every battle, he joined one side or the other with his small Chola army. Although victory and defeat alternated, the fighting spirit of the Cholas grew stronger with every war. Everyone knows that the river Kaveri divides into many branches and makes the Chola country rich and fertile. All those branch rivers flow towards the south of the Kaveri. Only one river branches from the Kolidam and flows between the Kaveri and the Kolidam. It is called the Maniyaru River. On the northern bank of the Maniyaru River, near the village of Thiruppurambayam, the final and greatest battle between the Pandyas and the Pallavas took place. The strength of both armies was almost equal. The Ganga King Prithivipathi came to support the Pallava king Aparajitha Varman. Aditya Chola also joined the side of Aparajitha Varman with his Chola army. Compared to the Pandya and Pallava armies, the Chola army was very small. However, Aditya Chola knew that if the Pandyas won this battle, the Chola dynasty would be completely destroyed. Therefore, like the river Kaveri flowing into the great ocean, he joined his small Chola army with the mighty Pallava army. The battlefield stretched as far as the eye could see. The 4 divisions of the army, chariots, elephants, cavalry, and infantry, were locked in fierce combat. The war elephants crashed into one another like mountains colliding, and the earth trembled in every direction. The cavalry charged at each other like raging storms, while the spears in the hands of the horsemen flashed like lightning. War chariots smashed into one another and shattered into countless pieces. The swords and spears of the infantry clashed together, and the loud ringing of steel echoed across the battlefield. After 3 days of continuous fighting, the entire battlefield looked like a sea of blood. Dead elephants and horses lay scattered across that terrible field. Broken pieces of war chariots floated like the wreckage of ships. Thousands upon thousands of warriors from both sides lay dead on the battlefield. After 3 days of such a terrible war, only a part of the Pallava army remained. Even the surviving soldiers were completely exhausted. But the brave Pandya warriors attacked again and again, as if they never knew the meaning of fatigue. A war council was held inside the tent of Aparajita Varman. The 3 kings, Aparajita Varman, Prithivipathi, and Aditya Chola, met together with their commanders to discuss the situation. They finally decided that they could no longer hold their position, and that it would be wiser to retreat to the northern bank of the Kollidam River. At that critical moment, something extraordinary happened on the battlefield. Vijayalaya Chola, weakened by old age, bearing 96 battle scars, and unable to stand because of severe wounds to his legs, somehow arrived at the battlefield. He knew that if the Pallava army retreated beyond the Kollidam River, the Chola kingdom would never rise again for a very long time. The mighty roar of that old lion gave new life and fresh courage to the warriors who still remained in the Pallava army. "An elephant! Bring me an elephant!" shouted Vijayalaya Chola. "Our entire elephant corps has been destroyed. Not a single elephant is left alive," they replied. "Then bring me a horse. At least bring me one horse," he cried. "There is not a single living horse left," they answered. "Are there at least 2 true warriors of Chola Nadu still alive? If so, come to me," roared Vijayalaya Chola. Instead of 2 men, 200 warriors stepped forward with powerful shoulders and brave hearts. "Lift me onto your shoulders. The rest of you, follow behind in pairs. If the 2 men carrying me fall in battle, let the next 2 take their place and carry me forward," commanded the great warrior. Immediately, 2 mighty warriors stepped forward and lifted Vijayalaya Chola onto their shoulders. "Forward! Move to the battlefront!" roared Vijayalaya Chola. Fierce fighting was still going on in one part of the battlefield. The Pandya warriors from the south were driving back the warriors from the north. Seated on the shoulders of 2 mighty warriors, Vijayalaya Chola was carried straight into the heart of the battle. Holding a long sword in each hand, he spun them like the divine Sudarshana chakra of Lord Vishnu and charged into the enemy ranks. No one could stop him. Wherever he advanced, the bodies of enemy soldiers piled up on both sides. Yes, many of the soldiers who had been retreating turned back to witness this incredible sight. At first, they stood frozen in amazement as they watched the superhuman bravery of Vijayalaya Chola. Then they encouraged one another, gathered fresh courage, and rushed back into the battle. That was enough. From that very moment, the blessings of goddess Jaya Lakshmi, the goddess of victory, turned in their favor. The Pallava commanders abandoned their plan to retreat to the northern bank of the Kollidam River. The 3 kings, surrounded by their elite royal guards, charged into the battlefield. Before long, the Pandya warriors began to retreat. After performing many heroic deeds in that day's battle, the Ganga King Prithivipathi gave his life on the battlefield and attained the hero's heaven. In memory of that great warrior, a hero stone was erected on the battlefield. Later, A Pallippadai temple was also built there in his honor. For some time after that terrible and brutal war, not even grass grew on the battlefield. People avoided that place completely. After a few years, the forest slowly spread over the battlefield. The woods became thick around the Pallippadai temple. Foxes made their homes in the bushes. Owls and nightbirds nested in the dark branches of the trees. As time passed, people stopped visiting the temple. Slowly, the temple fell into ruins. By the time our story begins, it had become a deserted and ruined shrine. As darkness fell, Azhwarkadiyan arrived at the ruined Pallippadai temple. The fierce guardian statues on the edge of the temple roof seemed to threaten and frighten him. But was that fearless Vaishnavite ever afraid? He swiftly climbed onto the temple mandapam. He sat quietly behind the branches of a tree that stretched over the roof. From there, he carefully watched every direction. His sharp eyes could see through the thick darkness. His ears were equally sharp and could hear even the faintest sound. One Najigai passed, then another. Soon, 3 Najigais had gone by. The deep darkness surrounding him felt heavy enough to take away his breath. From time to time, rustling sounds came from among the trees. A wild tree dog climbed up a tree. An owl let out a deep cry. From another direction, a nightbird called out. Frightened by the tree dog, a bird suddenly flapped its wings and flew to a higher branch. Then the foxes began to howl. A sound came from the branches above his head. He looked up. Perhaps it was a squirrel, a lizard, or some other small creature jumping from branch to branch. Through the small gaps between the branches, he could see a tiny patch of the night sky. The stars twinkled gently as if they were peeping down at him. In that lonely and deep darkness, they seemed like silent friends keeping him company. So, looking up through the branches, Azhwarkadiyan spoke softly to the stars. "Oh, stars, when I look at you tonight, you seem to be winking and laughing at the foolishness of the people on this earth. You have every reason to laugh. 100 years ago, you witnessed the great battle that was fought on this very ground. You also saw the river of blood that covered this battlefield for many days after the war. You must be wondering why human beings hate one another so much. You must also wonder why they spill human blood until it flows like a river. And they call this heroism. A man has been dead for 100 years, yet people still keep their hatred alive against him. They call this the enemy's Pallippadai temple. Now they are coming here to gather and make secret plans beside the enemy's memorial. They are using the names of the dead to trouble those who are still alive. Oh, stars in the sky, why don't you laugh? Go on, laugh as much as you like." "My lord, have I come here for nothing? Is this whole night going to pass without anything happening? Will the men I am waiting for never come? Did I hear the message wrongly? Or did I fail to pay proper attention? Or have those men with the fish sign changed their plan and gone somewhere else? What a disappointment. If I am deceived today, I shall never forgive myself. Ah, wait, I see a faint light. What is that?" The light disappears, and now it appears again. There is no doubt now. Someone is coming with a burning torch. No, there are 2 men coming. Good. My waiting has not been in vain. The 2 men walked past the Pallippadai temple and stopped a little farther away. They stood in a small open space surrounded by the dense forest. One of them sat down. The other, holding the burning torch, looked carefully in every direction. It was clear that he was waiting for someone. After a short while, 2 more men arrived. They must have visited this place before. Otherwise, no one could have found the way through such thick darkness and dense forest. One of the last 2 men was carrying a bag. He untied it and poured out what was inside. In the light of the burning torch, gold coins sparkled brightly. The man who poured out the coins laughed like a madman. "My friends, with the treasure of the Chola kingdom itself, we are going to destroy the Chola Empire. Isn't that a wonderful joke?" He burst into loud laughter once again. "Ravidasa, don't make so much noise. Please speak more softly," said one of the men. "Ha! Why should we worry about speaking loudly here? Only the foxes, the wild tree dogs, the owls, and the night birds can hear us. Fortunately, they won't go and tell anyone," said Ravidasan. "Even so, it is better if we speak a little more quietly," said another man. After that, they lowered their voices and continued their conversation. Azhwarkadiyan felt that there was no use sitting on top of the mandapam if he could not hear what they were saying. He decided to climb down and move closer to the gathering. Whatever danger came, he would have to face it. Thinking so, Azhwarkadiyan began climbing down from the mandapam. As he moved, his body brushed against the tree branches. A soft, rustling sound echoed through the silent forest. Immediately, two of the men sprang to their feet. "Who's there?" they roared. For a moment, Azhwarkadiyan's heart almost stopped beating. There seemed to be only one way to escape. He had to run before they caught him. But if he ran, the rustling of the forest would surely give away his hiding place. They would chase him and catch him. Just then, a large night bird suddenly spread its wings, flapped them loudly, and cried, "Oom! Oom!"
Hi everyone, if you enjoyed this episode, please like and share this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe for the next chapter of Ponniyin Selvan.